Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your weekly general taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are the general energies, trends, and themes for the week ahead. So let me know what you think. Now, with that said, they are always informed by my intuitive message. Every week, I go into my intuition, I'll ask for an intuitive message, and that comes up. And then we will look at your destiny energy card, which is from the Human Design Oracle deck. Then we will look at the direction, how best to tap into that destiny, and then we look at the insight cards, which is kind of like being able to see around corners. All right, before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our path to our highest vibrational good. So this week the message was really clear, and what I saw was a little a robin. Now, if you've been with me long enough, you know that robins are quite special to me. They always seem to bring good news. But what was special about this robin in particular was that it was gold. It was like a little golden robin, and it was like twittering at me. And although I couldn't hear the message that it was bringing, I felt really warm, really cozy, and it was like there's some good news coming this week. But the words that I heard in my mind were, a little bird told me. Right now, obviously we all know that saying. We've all heard it when our parents used to tell us something that we'd done, and it's probably because a neighbour or some other one of our friends' kids had grassed us up and said, oh, they've done this and da 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 da, and your parents would say, oh, a little bird told me, right? Well, the message that I got from this was actually that this week we will be learning some form of a secret, right? So something is going to be divulged to us this week, whether it's by a friend, a loved one, a family member, maybe even somebody that you've never met. All things are possible at this point, right? And the feeling that I got from it is it's like whatever piece of information you're given, it's going to be like a golden piece of information. It's going to be like a golden ticket of some sort. I, for one, am personally so here for that. Now, for the destiny energy, we have the Gate 26 and the Greater Good. And the message behind this card is, on a sort of really practical level, to call a spade, it very much is, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But the deeper message or the deeper story behind this is, you see the bird on the elephant. The bird eats the parasites that fly around the eyes and the ears of the elephant. And so the bird gets a meal, and, the elephant leaves the bird alone, and it stays free of parasites, right? So the greater good, everybody gets something. So whatever is shared with you this week, whether it's a secret, whether it's a piece of information, whether that piece of information, sorry, I'm just trying to get the camera to do its thing. It's been weird all day. And that's the coming Mercury retrograde, no doubt. That little blighter is doing his thing, or should I say their thing, because Mercury is ambi, right? Is masculine and feminine energy all in one. Now, whatever piece of information that you are given this week, it will be good for you. Find a way to share it, right? If you get a hot tip, share it with your friends and family. If you get a blessing of some sort of financial blessing or win or boon, find a way to share it. It doesn't have to be that you give it all away. Just give a token, right? Something out there for the greater good. Think about what you could do to offer something to the world in some way, shape, or form. What you're being asked to do here is to get into the reciprocal energy of flow, right? And what that means is you understand that you're okay to give because you know that it's coming straight back to you from another source. You don't know which one, you don't know how the universe is going to bring this back to you, but you know it's going to come back. And so you can give from a space that is truly for the greater good. Now, in terms of our direction energies, how do we tap into that flow? That's the question, right? I can hear a lot of you like, yeah, that's great, Raf, but how do we tap into this flow? And I know one of you in the comments is going to be laughing because you're going to be like, yeah, that was me. I hear you. Ooh, okay. I've just chucked them all over the floor, but one landed on its own. And that card was the Hanged Man. All right, so I'm going to pop that there. And there's way too many to read, so I'm just going to take the next two, because there's all of these as well. That was the Hanged Man. And then which one do we choose? This one. All right, and it is the Four of Cups. Interestingly enough, the others were the High Priestess and the Five of Cups. All right, so what this basically says is, turn the Hangman the right way up. So the Hangman and the Page of Wands, that's a very creative energy, right? And with the Four of Cups, what this tells me is some either creative idea and or endeavor that you have previously kind of put on the back burner or on the shelf is really asking you to tap into it. Not necessarily just because it could be lucrative for you, but it might be something that people actually really need. So this week you're being asked to think about where it is that you can fulfill a necessity in some way, shape or form for others. And then you're going to see that that will be either a very lucrative path for you to open, or potentially it opens new doors for you. Now, the Four of Cups with the Page of Wands, this is a message that you've been waiting for, right? One that has potentially been held up or delayed in some way, shape or form. So if you've had paperwork, documentation, letters, official seals and stamps, all of that kind of stuff, if you've been waiting for some kind of paperwork, it's very likely to show up this week. That's the good news. The challenging news, because you've got the Hanged Man here, it's likely that while it does show up, let's say this week you get your certificate, right? You get your driver's license or whatever. That's really exciting. And then you look at it and you're like, oh no, they spelled my name wrong. Or, oh no, they put the wrong address. Whatever it might be. So it's like you're getting what you want, but you will have to not backtrack, but potentially you'll have to make some kind of change or amendment to it. All right, now on the wider world stage, I would not be surprised if we have big conversations taking place where something is either repealed or a law is repealed, or maybe the conversation around changing a law comes up. Right now, the reason you'll know that this is what I've been talking about is because this is something that has been kind of ongoing. So potentially it's the Roe v. Wade thing. A lot of people have wanted that to be opened back up, to be looked at, etc. Maybe, just maybe, there are talks around this. This is something that's gone ahead, that nobody is happy about, that needs to be rectified. So it will be interesting to see how this shows up. And another way that this could show up for a select few of you, this is back to on a more personal level, this could be potentially that you are invited to speak on radio, podcast, TV, YouTube channel, all of that kind of stuff. So very, very exciting. And then for our our insight cards, if we could see around corners, right, which, we kind of can, what would the universe tell us? What would the universal heads up be? All right. So we've got the World card, right? So your community and or your tribe are definitely being made known with the Three of Swords, so potentially releasing or letting go of. And then we've got the Page of Wands again, right? So 2 pages represents disquiet, but technically these are the same 2 pages. So I'm standing by the message that I said earlier. It's like the paperwork, the documentation, something that you've been waiting for. It comes through, but it does need to be sent back or adjusted or amended in some way because there's something wrong on the piece of paper. Now, in terms of seeing round corners, the World card is the world, the wider world stage, with the Three of Swords. Potentially here, on the heavier end of the scale, this could be people that have been displaced, or maybe more people are displaced, and what highlights it is what's happening with the children and or the young people. This could also be that a school, a college or a university or some larger institution is being shut down, and it's going to force the young people students, people that attend school. It's going to force the people that it affects most. Potentially, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some kind of protest or some kind of petition or, something of that nature. On a sort of brighter note and on a more personal level, this could literally be, if for those of you that have filed for things like divorce, for things like emancipation, all of that kind of stuff, this could be that your wish in some sense is granted, and it's kind of like a bittersweet win. Now, on a more sort of local level, what this also suggests is that something about your locality or your neighborhood is going to come up for review, and it looks like a lot of people, potentially for the first time in a long time, are all banding together because it's like you all agree on the way that something is or should be. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out, firstly on the wider world stage, but also on a more personal level as well. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes out. Take care, and I'll see you soon.